Shane, Shane, Shane. Shane, 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 Shane. A-L-A-N-Allen. A-L-A-N-Allen. Allen, 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 Allen.
Hey, what's going on? It's the 38th Parallel NFL Week 9 preview. We're going to do our midseason power rankings and report card. You know what that means? What did I get wrong? Because I got a lot wrong, Alan. I mean, this season's embarrassing for me.
This is, you know what, this has kind of been a weird year, so I think you're forgiven for that. Did you guys do anything fun for Halloween?
Yeah, I went trick-or-treating. I dressed up as myself, so that's scary enough.
Yeah,
it's pretty scary. But yeah, it was good times. How about you?
I was Ash Ketchum.
That's right.
There ever was.
Yes,
and got to catch them all and all that.
And
so
yeah, and I saw that you caught a Pikachu, right? Pikachu.
Yeah, I caught a Pikachu. It's a 6'4" Polish Pikachu.
Wow.
You had to be there. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, the day after Halloween, I suddenly have this just sinking sadness that the football season is halfway over. Can you believe that? It's already halfway over. So what we're going to do is we're going to give ourselves some grades. It's time for the mid-season 38th Parallel report card. We're going to look back at some of our preseason predictions at the beginning of the show, starting with the teams going up and teams going down, which was a prediction of non-playoff teams from 2024. And we were predicting teams that we thought would make the playoffs in 2025. Starting with the teams going up, we said the Cincinnati Bengals in the AFC. This is what we said about the Bengals. They're going to make the playoffs on the back of a revamped defense under DC Al Golden with a healthy and motivated Joe Burrow. Well, in our defense, Joe Burrow may be motivated, but he's not exactly healthy. The Bengals are currently dead last in scoring defense. They're giving up 31.6 points a game, not exactly a revamped defense. And Joe Burrow there suffered a grade 3 turf toe injury in week 2, which has him sidelined for 3 months. Shane, obviously our prediction's not exactly holding up, but in our defense, we didn't predict that Burrow wouldn't be playing for 3 months.
No, that's true. And I mean, of course, when you have Joe Burrow there, obviously you're going to have a chance no matter what. But they do have this guy. They have Joe Flacco.
Hey.
He's not doing too bad. They just defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers. Can't talk. They just beat them recently. So, hey, Joe Flacco still got some gas in the tank. Who would have thought a 50,000-year-old quarterback would play pretty well? So
he's the same age as me, but thanks a lot, Shane.
You're welcome.
It is true that their offense is much improved since Flacco got there, but they are also 1-2 since he got there. They're going to need to start winning a lot of games to get back in this. You'll be happy to hear, Shane, another team that you and I predicted would be up was the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, yeah.
We said this back at the start of the season. The 49ers would benefit from the easiest schedule in the NFL and a strengthened defense with the return of DC Robert Saleh. And if their stars could get healthy, along with squeezing one more year out of running back Christian McCaffrey, they would win the NFC West. Well, how did we do? They're currently 8th in scoring defense. That's not bad. They have once again been struck by the injury bug, though surprisingly, Christian McCaffrey is actually one of the healthy and thriving stars on the team. How about that? They're currently a half a game out of the division lead with a number of very winnable games in the future. Are you feeling pretty good about the 49ers?
Oh, man, it's always up and down for me. Some days I'm thinking, man, the 49ers can get this Super Bowl again. And then, as you were mentioning, the injury bug, it just seems every single season under Kyle Shanahan, they just get injured a lot. I don't know what it is. I mean, Brock Purdy has the turf toe. Who knows how long that's going to last? I know it's a lingering injury, so he could have that for probably the rest of his career, if you can imagine. But one player that I think has kind of gone under the radar in terms of who they've picked up, because obviously Robert Saleh was that huge addition for them, getting that defense back on track. They have they only have one interception, so they still have that to try and get more of, to get some more takeaways. But field goal kicker Eddie Pinheiro has been lights out ever since they got rid of Jake Moody after week 1, and now he's with the Chicago Bears. Man, Eddie Pinheiro, he is Eddie De Niro Pinheiro, Eddie Money, whatever.
My God.
I know. Hey, this is Niners Twitter. I'm reiterating, not me. This isn't me saying that.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, put that on the list along with Indiana Daniel Jones, because it ain't happening.
Yes.
So you know what? For the ups, I'm gonna say the Bengals is probably a C- to a D+ for our grade. But again, in our defense, we said that was with a healthy Joe Burrow. They don't have a healthy Joe Burrow. San Francisco 49ers. I mean. It is true that they've been up and down the last few weeks and Purdy has been out. But considering how many games that Mac Jones has had to start, and considering they're a half game out of the division lead, and by the way, they currently are 3-0 in their division with 3 more games left to play at the halfway mark. Yeah. That's not bad. That's not bad. I think we could give ourselves a B to B+ on the 49ers. Moving to our down teams, we predicted the Pittsburgh Steelers. We predicted the Steelers would fall off this season. And of course, a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers showing his age behind a shaky offensive line, and head coach Mike Tomlin finally losing his consecutive winning season streak en route to being relieved of his duties in Pittsburgh. We said all that. Yeah. But you know what? They're actually currently leading the AFC North. However, they're currently on a 2-game losing streak as well, including a loss to the Bengals, while the Ravens have won back-to-back games to close the gap. Now, Rodgers has played adequately for the offense to work, better than in recent years. But surprisingly, it's been the defense, infamously the league's highest paid unit, that are third from last in yards. And listen to this, just like the Ravens, listen to the Steelers' defense. They're second in points allowed, as in second to last.
Wow.
That is a very uncharacteristic Pittsburgh Steelers defense. So what do you think of our grade on there? We're predicting them to miss the playoffs. They're currently in the division lead, but things are looking down at the moment.
Yeah, and when you're talking about Aaron Rodgers, I mean, obviously anything's better than what happened over there in New York, over there with the New York Jets. So I think if Aaron Rodgers can continue to play adequately to about above average play, I think the Steelers will always have a chance to be in games. And it, like you were saying, it is surprising that with all the money invested into that Steelers defense, you would think they'd be top 10, top 15 at least in scoring defense, or just defense in general. And I think that stat is pretty staggering. It's definitely something they need to get in control of. So, you know, I think with the Steelers, it's interesting because, you know, we're talking about with the Bengals, right? The Bengals, Browns, and the Ravens being in that division. I mean, if the Steelers can keep up with just those 3 teams, really, because I mean, the Browns aren't going anywhere. The Ravens they're in a, you know, that we'll speak to them a little later, but the Ravens are going to be, looks like they're still in the bottom of the barrel. So I think if the Steelers can continue that trajectory of just playing good football, I know I'm saying some obvious stuff here, but if they can continue to play within that division, I think they'll be okay.
You know, it's interesting because that division has turned out to be so much weaker than maybe we predicted it would be at the start of the season. For them to currently have the lead, you almost feel like if they finish the season, if they go 500 the rest of the way, they might still win the division. Now that might be risking it. They have both games remaining with the Ravens. If they split with the Ravens and then go 500 overall, they might win the AFC North.
Oh, yeah.
Our other team that we had down, the Minnesota Vikings. This is what we said about them in the preseason. The Vikings are going to take a step backwards this year with quarterback J.J. McCarthy's first year as a starter, taking over for the departed Sam Darnold. On top of that, the NFC North would be a brutal division once again, and the Vikings wouldn't have the depth to handle multiple long road trips or any injuries on the offensive line. McCarthy indeed has been a big step back from Darnold. He is currently 42nd out of 43 qualifying quarterbacks in quarterback rating at 67.2. And that's assuming he's on the field, which was only 2 games because Carson Wentz has started the last 5. The Vikings are dead last in their division, and that's with 2 games apiece against the Lions and Packers yet remaining. To add injury to insult, they've also had injuries to offensive tackles Brian O'Neill and Christian Darrisaw and center Ryan Kelly, none of which they could afford. Shane, I think that this might be our 1A plus prediction.
Yeah. I mean, just looking at the standings right now, the Packers 5-1-1, Lions 5-2, Bears 4-3, Vikings 3-4, dead last, like you were saying. I don't see the Packers and Lions going down anytime soon. And the Bears, I mean, they're up and down. We don't know what they're going to be by week 16. So we don't know with them. That's probably the only competition they have to even get into a wild card spot. But yeah, I think with the Vikings, we don't really know what they are. And Carson Wentz is down now too. So
yes,
we don't even know what's going on, who's going to be the quarterback for them.
The thing about the Vikings is that McCarthy was struggling mightily in the first 2 weeks, and when he went down. So it's not like getting him back is going to drastically change their fortunes, right? I think he's expected back this week, but who cares? You're just going back to what is effectively a rookie who's struggling in his first year as the starter. It's true that the Bears have been streaky. They beat bad teams and lost to good teams. But right now, the Vikings are a bad team, though the Vikings did beat the Bears in week 1. I think that there's a good chance the Vikings finish the season last in the division. This is genuinely our best prediction in terms of it's what we predicted, including all of the surrounding scenarios, and every single thing came true. That's really an A+. Good. Hey.
Yeah,
good job on us. We knew the Vikings. Moving on to our hot takes of all temperatures. You might remember our hot take was the Denver Broncos will win the AFC West over the Chiefs. Now, the Broncos are currently riding a 5-game winning streak, which has put them in first place in the division, though technically that's over the second place Chargers, and the Chiefs are down in third place. We also said that head coach Sean Payton would continue to mold QB Bo Nix into his guy, and the defense would make them contenders. Well, Bo Nix currently sits at 8th in yards. He's tied for 6th in touchdowns, and the defense is the number 5 scoring defense in the NFL. They do only have a 1-game lead at the moment, with both games against the Chiefs remaining, along with one more game against the Chargers. Those two games against the now resurging Chiefs are going to loom large. However, that was our hot take. Denver Broncos win it over the Chiefs. Right now, they currently lead the division, so we have the clubhouse lead at the moment. What do you think?
Man, the Kansas City Chiefs, just when you thought they were down, they're coming right back. And yeah, the Broncos are just 1 game ahead of them, and the Chargers are also tied with the Chiefs. That's some tough competition there. The Raiders, we don't have to worry about the Raiders. We can just, it's a 3-team division really, so we don't have to worry about the Raiders at all. But man, it's good. I don't even really know what to say about that. It's going to be hard for them, I think, to keep with that AFC West title. But as of right now, they could definitely win the AFC West. So yeah, I think this was a pretty good prediction. I would, if I were to give it a grade, as of right now, I would give it a B, because like I said, that Chargers and Chiefs, they can come up there and steal it from them.
Yeah, I do think that this division is going to have, I think all 3 of those teams are going to make the playoffs. So by that logic, it is a very tough division. So really it only comes down to, are the Broncos going to have the home field or not from the division? And I'll put it to you this way: as my bias against the Chiefs says, I want the Broncos to win the division. I'm not a Broncos fan. I don't care if the Broncos are the team that wins the division. Chargers are currently second because they have a win over the Chiefs, so they have the tiebreaker as of right this minute. We will have to see how things play out the next 8 weeks. Our mild take: this is the boy.
Yeah.
Our mild take was, this is the year the Baltimore Ravens win the AFC with Lamar Jackson at the helm. Now, stay with me for a second. This was the argument. Along with the Bills and Chiefs both kind of regressing a little bit, which they have both lost multiple games, the Ravens would enjoy another MVP level season from QB Lamar Jackson, along with a balanced roster built for January football, punishing ground game, opportunistic defense. Well, okay. Lamar Jackson missed a few weeks with a hamstring injury, although to be fair, they were already 1-3 when he went down. However, look, it's not Lamar Jackson. He's got 14 touchdowns and 1 interception. Only 3 touchdowns out of first place, despite not playing 3 weeks. He's also second in QBR. That's pretty darn good for a guy who's missed the last few weeks. Look, Lamar Jackson's not the problem. And I'll tell you what else is not the problem is the running game. They're still 6th in the NFL at 135.5 yards a game. The problem has been the wildly un-Ravens-like defense. They're 28th in yards and in scoring. However, with half the season remaining, they are now on a 2-game winning streak. Lamar Jackson back in the lineup, and they now only trail the Steelers by 1 win at the moment of this broadcast, with both games against the Steelers yet to be played. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, look, our prediction up to this point is looking pretty rocky. D-, F+, somewhere in that area. But the second half of football is going to make or break for the Steelers and Ravens.
Hey, I mean, looking at that division, AFC North, Steelers 4-3, as we talked about earlier. Bengals 3-5, we talked about earlier. Ravens 3-5. So if they can possibly win, obviously they need to win more games. That I'm saying some obvious stuff here again, but that division, the AFC North division, is still up for grabs, as even though the Steelers are 4-3. So look, I think the Ravens, if their offense can even, if they can just score points and hope and pray that defense can do something, because like you were saying, that defense is just atrocious. They're a -3 in turnover differential, -3. So they need to get more turnovers, is basically what I'm trying to say here. So it's up for grabs at AFC North.
With how well Lamar has played and with how well they've been able to run the football as well, you kind of get look, if the defense could just get a couple of stops a game,
right? Yeah, I know.
A couple of stops, force a couple of punts or a turnover a game, they could win. They could win out. They've got a lot of winnable games ahead of them. Finishing up with our cold take, and this our cold take being our take that we thought, we're not exactly going out on a limb. We're predicting the likely thing to happen. The Philadelphia Eagles go on from winning the NFC East to winning the NFC East. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one because this is kind of more process of elimination than domination. Now, they did have a brief skid in October, picked up a couple losses, but the Eagles are 6-2, which is 3 more wins than anyone else in the division. Shane, when the 3-4-1 Cowboys are your closest competition, you're probably in the driver's seat.
Well, look, I know I said at the beginning of the season that I said the Cowboys were going to win the NFC East. So this one's you. This one's you saying the Eagles were going to win the NFC East. I said the Cowboys were going to win the NFC East. And you know what? They're second place, the 3-4-1. It's still possible, maybe, but as of right now, I should probably never talk about sports ever again.
It's so funny. I don't know why this strikes me is so ironic that the Cowboys that you predicted are technically in second place behind the Eagles in the NFC East, but they have half as many wins.
Yeah, I know.
Not a great division. No. With that, we're going to move on. This is the second time we've ever done it on the program. It's time to mark the midseason. We're going to do the 38th parallel power rankings. To remind folks at home, our power rankings are a little bit different than what you expect to see on CBS, AP, ESPN. The rankings are based on where the teams are right now, not where we think that they should be, could be, would be in later weeks. Therefore, teams with better records always go before teams with worse records. And by the way, just because the Cowboys and Packers, yes, ties count as losses, as they should. Also, within the same bracket, head-to-head always wins unless there's like a weird win-loss triangle, quadrangle thing where Team A beat Team B and Team B beat Team C and Team C. Right. Yeah. With that said, it's easy at the top. There's only one team with one loss, so they're number one. It's the Indianapolis Colts. We're going to start pausing here really quick to say, look, if you can find me the program that back in August said that the Indianapolis Colts were going to be the number one team in football, please share us a link. Send us a message on Twitter at the Hoppitarian, at Alan Mosley TV. Please send us a link to whoever said that. And I don't mean just some random Colts fan who picks them to go all the way every year. I mean in-depth analysis for why the Colts would be the best team in the NFL. We didn't predict it. I'm happy to admit that because nobody else did. Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones coming over from the New York Giants completely breathed new life into the Shane Steichen offense. But it's not just him. It's been a complete team effort. The defense has improved. The passing game has improved. Of course, the running game is great because they only have the number one running back in the NFL, Jonathan Taylor. Now, you can argue that depending on what year it is, he may not be the best, most talented running back in the league. But you can make an argument he is, and this year he certainly is. In fact, Shane, I'm going to go so far as to say that if the second half of the season repeats exactly the way the first half is, let's agree to quit arguing about which quarterback deserves it the most and give the NFL MVP to Jonathan Taylor.
Look, I was definitely one who didn't think that the Colts didn't have a chance to be up there. I mean, let alone number one, you know. And I saw an article that even was saying that Shane Steichen should be on the hot seat. That's how crazy it was for them. And now all of a sudden, they're the number one team in the NFL. I mean, credit to Shane there. I mean, you know, fellow Shane there. So I like that guy for that. But he's a coach of the year candidate for sure. I mean, would you agree with that?
Oh, I mean, without a doubt, if the season continues the way it is, unless the Colts have like a 2 to 3 game skid in the second half, he is the coach of the year. I don't even think it's that close.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on to the 2-loss traffic jam. There's a lot. We're going all the way to fill out the top 10. That's how many 2-loss teams there are in the NFL. A lot of competitive teams right behind the Colts. At number 2, the Green Bay Packers. At number 3, Detroit Lions. Number 4, the Denver Broncos. Number 5, the Philadelphia Eagles. Number 6, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 7, the LA Rams. Number 8, the New England Patriots. Number 9, the Buffalo Bills. And finally, number 10, Seattle Seahawks. Now, again, to remind people who may be watching or listening at home, if you're wondering why some of that's ordered the way it is, the fact of the matter, first of all, the Packers do technically only have one loss, but they have a tie. We count that as a loss. So they're in the 2-loss section. The Packers beat the Lions. The Packers haven't looked great in the last few weeks. They did have a decent enough win against the Steelers, but they kind of struggled against the Arizona Cardinals of all teams, which was a bit surprising. But the fact of the matter is that they absolutely ran all over the Lions in week 1. And until proven otherwise, as long as they're in the same bracket, they're above them. Same thing goes for Denver Broncos over Philadelphia Eagles. The Broncos beat the Eagles, and therefore they're going to be ranked ahead of them, even though I do think the Eagles have righted the ship. And, of course, the Eagles are over the Bucs for the same reason. Moving on down towards the bottom of my top 10, I have the New England Patriots at number 8. Of course, they're over the number 9 Buffalo Bills precisely because, once again, the Patriots beat the Bills on the field. What do you think about that? Number 2 through number 10.
I mean, I like it. I mean, look, Micah Parsons trade to Green Bay. I mean, my goodness, what an impact that guy has made over there. I mean, who would have thought one of the best defensive players in the league is going to make an impact on another team? Wow. I mean,
I can't believe it.
Yeah. I know, it's crazy. And as we're showing here, Mike Vrabel, that guy has rejuvenated the New England Patriots over there. I mean, I've said it before, just make him competitive, make him good, make Drake May look like a freaking MVP candidate. I mean, come on. He's doing a good job over there. Now, it's early. It's just his first season, so anything can happen after this. But as of right now, he's looking pretty good. But I like your list there. I think You know, I was just thinking too. One team though you're talking about is the Buccaneers, and another person that I think should also be an MVP candidate conversation is Baker Mayfield. That guy has been playing lights out for the most part. So I'm going to go ahead and say the Buccaneers at number 6. I think is a pretty good spot for them. So I like it.
I will say before we move on to the 3 lost teams, while I do think that Shane Steichen is the clubhouse leader for Coach of the Year because his team is the number 1 team in the NFL, obviously Mike Vrabel is a contender. If the Patriots have a second half the way they had their first half, that let's just say that's another 2 losses. I mean, but that means they finished the season 13-4. This team was a half a game away from passing the Titans for number 1 pick last year. And you look how bad the Titans are, right? The Titans were worst team in the NFL, got the number 1 pick. They're probably the worst team in the NFL again this year. Depends on how that game with the Jets goes. You have a Patriots team that it was down to the wire that they could get first pick last year. And in literally 1 season, they're on pace for 13-4. Again, if the Colts do have a couple of games skid here, then Mike Vrabel has a chance. Although I will say, honorable mention there, Mike Vrabel, who has done an amazing job, but he didn't coach the offense. They brought back old friend Josh. His name literally just left. Josh McDaniels. Yeah. Josh McDaniels comes in, who of course has been a staple around New England for years. They get him with Drake May, and in literally 1 season. Yeah. Drake May, who is, I mean, what's Drake May? 22 years old, 21 years old, and he's looking like a top 10 quarterback already. Oh, yeah. Moving on to the 3 loss on ramp, off ramp, starting, of course, with number 11, the LA Chargers. I know a lot of people put number 12 Kansas City Chiefs in their power rankings even higher up, but we keep the rankings together based on record, and the Chargers beat the Chiefs. So Chargers 11, Chiefs 12. Your San Francisco 49ers are at 13. Number 14, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 15, the Jacksonville Jaguars, which kind of feels weird to say, but I mean, they're a 3-loss team. What can you say? Yeah. And finally, also the Chicago Bears, which wraps up the top half of the league. Really, really quick thought right here, because I don't have too much to say about it, is everyone expects the Chiefs to kind of turn it on in the second half. That the first half of the season wasn't them, somehow magically falling off. It was the fact that you remember Xavier Worthy went down like on the first play of scrimmage in the first game when Travis Kelce dislocated his own teammate's shoulder. Oh, right. And also they were without wide receiver Rice for the first several games. With both of those guys back, surprise, surprise, the Kansas City Chiefs, their win over the Lions looked really good. Oh, yeah. So I do expect the Chiefs to win a lot of games in the second half of the season. Also, your San Francisco 49ers, we already talked about them. I think for what has happened and where they are, the year's not been bad. But last week was kind of rough.
Yeah, it was rough.
It was rough. So what do you think, the 3 lost teams?
Well, I mean, you said it, that people are expecting the Kansas City Chiefs to just turn on the Jets and start going on a winning streak. I mean, ESPN has them at number 6. Number 6.
They do.
And I think, and like you were saying before, how you do this whole list and rank and all that, I think they have them at number 6 because, like you were saying, they probably expect, well, they're 5-3. They had a slow start, but here they come. They're going to be probably 11-3 by but towards the end of the season, whatever. So, I mean, other than that, I think it's pretty good. And yeah, the 49ers, one game they'll look Super Bowl contenders. The next game, like the Texans game, it's like, man, this team won a game. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean the thing. Look, I get why they rank the Chiefs the way they rank them is because they're thinking based on what we've seen from them most recently, and assuming that core unit stays healthy. It's kind of your typical if the playoffs were today. If the playoffs were today, the Chiefs would be the last seed. They would be the number 7 seed in the AFC. And if the playoffs were today and the Chiefs were in it, even at number 7, people would expect them to be a serious contender. So that's why they have the Chinks ranked higher.
Yeah. Yeah. One last thing here. I don't want to get too political here real quick, but isn't it kind of weird that when Rashee Rice came back, I mean, I understand you're a teammate and they want to support him, but didn't he do something pretty bad? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on your definition of do and something and bad.
Yeah.
But he did.
Okay.
Moving on to the 4-loss four-way stop. There's 4 teams that have 4 losses. Number 17, the Houston Texans. Number 18, the Carolina Panthers. Number 19, the Atlanta Falcons. And number 20, the Minnesota Vikings. That's I don't want to get caught up too much in kind of the bottom half of the league, so I'm going to read the rest of the teams sort of really quick so we can just go through it.
Yeah.
The five loss roundabout. You got number 21, the Dallas Cowboys. Number 22, the Washington Redskins. Number 23, the Baltimore Ravens. Number 24, the Cincinnati Bengals. Number 25, the Arizona Cardinals. 26, the Las Vegas Raiders. And then you have the 6 loss dead ends, number 27, Cleveland Browns, and number 28, New York Giants. Rip Scatterbo. And finally, the 7 loss Sunday draft drivers. These are the teams currently in the running for number 1 pick in the draft. Number 29, the Miami Dolphins. Number 30, the New York Jets, getting their first win.
Yes.
Number 31, the New Orleans Saints. And finally, sad to say, number 32, the Tennessee Titans. So looking at the kind of the whole bottom half of the league as one big wide shot, I would say of those 4 loss teams, it's kind of like you're looking at teams that are on the precipice. They either have to go up from here or they're out. The Texans, especially after this past week, they have a serious chance to make noise. The problem is that they're in a division with the Colts, who are so far running away with the division that they're basically playing for a wild card. Jumping way down, we already talked about the Ravens a little bit, but I do want to mention them, the Ravens and Bengals again together. That you have 2 AFC North teams that we just expected all of us expected so much more from this year. I mean, you look at our report card rankings. We thought the Bengals make the playoffs and the Ravens might win it all. And now both of those teams have to go on a big run in the second half of the season. Otherwise, it's a nothing burger. And finally, jumping down to the bottom of the list, it is true that the Jets were the last team to get a win. It's also true that the Dolphins, Jets, and Titans play each other. So that's sort of going to shake itself out a little bit. The Saints have moved on from, at least for this week, from Spencer Rattler. They're starting rookie Tyler Shuck this week.
That's too bad.
Yeah. Shuck around and find out. I think that's what we're gonna. It's gonna go.
Hey, that one will go. Hey, that one's gonna be. Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter if he's good or bad. Either way, it works.
That's a good point.
But I'm gonna predict, and then I'm gonna hand it over to you. My prediction is that when all the smoke settles, it is back-to-back failure champions, Tennessee Titans.
Oh my gosh. I mean, the New York Jets are such a bad team. They beat the Bengals by 1 point. I mean,
yes, but they beat the Bengals. The Bengals beat the Steelers, and they lead the division. So,
hey, you know what?
I'm just saying.
Hey, given Sunday, as they say, any given Sunday. Look, the New York Giants losing Cam Scatterbo, that's it for them. It's over. I mean,
yes,
I think whoever is running back, I'm sorry, I just don't see them doing anything other than that. I mean, it was a good time. Those few games when Jackson Dart came in and Brian Dable looked like he was so head over heels for Jackson Dart, but we'll just have to move on to next year. And one more, the Las Vegas Raiders, 5 losses. It doesn't feel like they've lost 5 times. It feels like they've lost every single game because they're just that bad, So
yeah. It's so weird to look back. The beginning of the season is always so strange. There's always weird stuff that happens that in week 1 or 2 where the teams are sort of kind of finding themselves and then everyone sort of settles in. Remember, the Raiders beat the Patriots.
Yes.
They started the season by beating the Patriots, and it's all been downhill from there. With that said, we're going to move on to this week's picks, starting with the Minnesota Vikings, going back to J.J. McCarthy. And boy, it couldn't happen to a nicer young man. He gets to go on the road to play the Detroit Lions in his first week back. Shane, the Lions are 8.5-point favorites at home. What do you think?
Oh, man. J.J. McCarthy, good luck. That's all I got to say about that. Good luck. Detroit Lions, 8.5. I mean, that is basically saying, we don't trust the Vikings at all. I think the Lions get that easy.
We were talking, I think it was a week or two ago, that McCarthy has only been available for 2 out of the 24 games that he has been in the NFL. He's finally going back, which I'm not trying to say that he's injury prone. It could just be bad freaking luck. But the fact of the matter is he's missed a lot of games with injuries. And now he's missing a bunch of offensive linemen with injuries. And now they're going to Detroit to play the Lions. Yeah, good luck. I'm actually going to say the Lions cover that, no problem. I think the Vikings are probably done at this point. Moving on to another one of our middle of the road teams, the Atlanta Falcons are going on the road to play the New England Patriots. The Patriots are 5.5-point favorites in that game. Atlanta feels like they're a team that's not that great. Of course, they didn't look very good with Kirk Cousins under center this past week. Not that I think anyone is super surprised to hear that. However, this is also the same Falcons team that ran all over the Buffalo Bills. So what do you think? Patriots 5.5 favorite.
I mean, the Falcons are just a team that's just in complete free for all. I don't even know what's going on over there. I mean, as a Niners fan, I saw the Falcons team that just could not score that well, and their defense, their defense is okay. I think that's probably the best part of their team is their defense. But yeah, I think 5.5 looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, the thing is that their win, they had back-to-back wins over the Redskins and Bills, and that looked really good.
Not too bad, yeah.
But and you know what? Losing by 10 at San Francisco was not the end of the world. But then they lost 34-10 to the Dolphins.
Yeah,
like that was a game that could potentially have was potentially extending the career of Mike McDaniel in Miami. Although it came to an end this week. So yeah, I think the Falcons are done. I think the Patriots get back on track here. This is moving on. We have a couple of really great games, actually a few really great games, all in the AFC. Starting with the Indianapolis Colts, our aforementioned number 1 team in the NFL, going on the road to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers have kind of had a bumpy ride the last couple of weeks after starting so hot in the division. The Steelers are 3.5-point underdogs as the home team hosting the Colts. What do you think?
Oh, I mean, I think the Indianapolis Colts, they're a really good team. I mean, we said that a bunch of times. They're a team that not a lot of people talk about. I mean, it's the Indianapolis Colts. They're not the Kansas City Chiefs. Like I was saying before, the Chiefs are number 6, and they're being talked about more than the Colts are, which is just, it's blasphemy to me. But in terms of this game, I think 3.5, I think they'll probably get that. I think it'll be a closer game than people will realize.
Yeah, and they were in a couple of close games. Their game with the Jacoby Brissett-led Cardinals was a relatively close game, and then they had a at least close for a little while game against the Chargers. But they took care of business. Still ended up winning by 2 touchdowns. Yeah, and then of course absolutely demolished the Titans for the second time this season this past week. This is a big game for them in the sense of I feel like the Colts are a much better team, but the Colts have had a fairly easy schedule up to this point. And they also haven't had a lot of their road contests. From here on, they're going to be at Steelers, at Chiefs, at Jaguars, at Seahawks before finishing at home against the 49ers. If the Colts still look this good after that stretch, then this isn't a flash in the pan. They actually are that good. But I think they get it done here. I think the Colts start their second half run by covering against the Steelers. Moving on to the Denver Broncos, another team currently leading their division, at the Houston Texans. The Texans are actually, believe it or not, the Texans are 2.5-point favorites at home against the Broncos. Of course, it's in Houston, but to see them as the favorites over the AFC West leading Broncos is a little bit surprising. What do you think?
Yeah, that's shocking. I mean, it could just be recency bias, that has destroyed the 49ers. The score, what looks closer than the game actually was. That game was not close at all. And yeah, it's surprising that they're 2.5 favorites there. I think the Broncos, will take care of business. I mean, the Texans defense is really good. As a Niners fan, I saw that firsthand. It was just the 49ers could probably do anything for most of that game. But I think Bo Nix and Sean Payton, I think they'll have more. I have more confidence that they'll actually do something against them.
Well, I guess I can at least see the argument for the Texans here.
Yeah.
The Texans defense is legit. They're the
Yes.
number one scoring defense in the NFL. And while it is true, as we discussed earlier, statistically, the Broncos are the number 5 defense in the NFL. However, in the last 3 weeks, they won by 2 against the Jets.
Wow.
And then over the next 2 weeks, they gave up a combined 56 points to the Giants and Cowboys.
Ouch.
The Broncos are technically on a 5-game winning streak, but a few of those games look a little bit suspect.
Yeah.
So if they're struggling, if the Texans are holding the Broncos to their patented, couple of touchdown, 14, 15 point game, yeah, the Texans could get this done against that defense. You know what? I'm actually going to go Texans. I'm actually going to go Texans, which goes against my prediction of the Broncos. So that way I come out ahead no matter what. Either I win this week by picking the Texans, or I win for the season by picking the Broncos.
You win no matter what. Damn.
Yeah. Got to always play both sides, come out on top. Yeah. Finally, our game of the week, the once again, Chiefs Bills. You love to hate it, you hate to love it. Yeah. The Kansas City Chiefs are going on the road to play the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills are 1.5 point home underdogs against the Chiefs. Vegas thinks that the Chiefs are getting ready to make a run, and Vegas is not sold on these Bills. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. I think the Buffalo Bills are pretty much the Josh Allen show. I mean, Stephon Diggs is there to help. Or Stephon Diggs, oh my gosh. I'm sure Josh Allen would let me say,
that's the problem.
Oh, no. Think about something else. But yeah, it's a Josh Allen show over there in Buffalo. And, as much as this is our generation's Patriots, Colts, when it was Manning and Brady, this is Mahomes and Allen. I mean, yeah, I think Vegas, again, as much as you and I would not like this to happen because we're not Chiefs fans, I think the Chiefs probably are going to. I mean, I would not be surprised at all if they just start winning every single game the rest of the season after that. Yeah.
The Bills just shellacked the Panthers 40-9, which kind of got the bad taste of those back-to-back losses out of their mouth. They finally looked like the Bills we kind of expected them to be. Right. The Bills on paper are a great team. They're the number 1 rushing team in the NFL. They're number 4 in scoring offense, number 9 in scoring defense. On paper, they look good. The problem is that they lost at home to the Patriots, which Patriots are not a bad team. But then they lost a 2-possession game to an Atlanta Falcons team that's just not a great team. So if the Bills team that beat the Panthers last week 40-9 plays this week, they have a pretty good chance. But if the Kansas City team, right? If the Kansas City team that absolutely shellacked the Detroit Lions a couple of weeks ago, and then followed that up with 31-0 shutout of the Raiders and 28-7 shellacking of the Commanders this past week. If that Kansas City team shows up, yeah, I'm going Chiefs. I hate that. I hate to say it, but I like Josh Allen, but I'm going Chiefs because Josh Allen, it just ain't there.
A crazy stat about Josh Allen is that he holds a 4-1 record against Mahomes in the regular season, but he's 0-4 against him in the playoffs, where it matters most. So history will show us that the Bills will win this game, but if these two teams meet in the playoffs, history will show us that the Kansas City Chiefs will once again win their 40th Super Bowl trophy. So
all the more reason that the Bills need to take care of business so they can be playing in Buffalo. They've had their opportunities. Take care of business. You get to play in Buffalo.
Right.
Shane, do you have a final thought?
I just hope that everybody has a good time watching football, and I hope the 49ers beat the Giants because that turf over there in Meadowlands, not good. So I am expecting the 49ers to probably lose another 10 players. Alan, final
thought. My final thought is that we've reached the wonderful time of the year where I don't have to worry about the Cowboys anymore because they're no longer relevant. And I can just enjoy football, right? No, Shane, it's okay when the 49ers lose 5 of their next 6, because then you can just mentally check out and just enjoy football. Join me, brother. Argument. Join me in the just enjoy football bandwagon.
But it's so much fun when your team is winning and they get to the Super Bowl and then they lose. It's so much fun. No.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks again for joining us. And yeah, bye.